Hi, welcome to St. John Vianney School. My name's Amy Hale and I'm principal here. We're going to take you on a virtual tour and help to get you acquainted with everything that St. John Vianney School has to offer for your family. These are our gates. We have a closed campus. We have drive-through gates that are locked every morning once school starts. We have one over here, and there's another drive-through gate that's on the opposite side of our campus. And then when families need to access campus during the day, they just use our buzzing gate system that's right here. And this is our walk-in gate. So this is where you would start your tour. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the school office. Come on in. Well, this is our front office. This is where Mrs. Kanengas sits. Mrs. Kanengas is the face of St. John Vianney School. Anytime that someone calls on the phone or needs any help at all, she's the first person that they contact. Hi, welcome to the principal's office. This is not always a bad place to be. Actually, visiting with the principal can be a good thing. A question that I get frequently when I give school tours is, Mrs. Hale, tell us about your discipline policy. The really good news is that when students have to visit with me, it's more about coaching versus about discipline. At St. John Vianney School, we use what's called restorative practices. So when students have to come and visit with me, I ask questions. And it's really about a conference with them. When they walk away, it's helped them to stop and think about what they did, think about how it's impacted themselves and how their decisions have impacted others, how they need to make decisions so that they don't find themselves in that same position again in the future. It helps them think about what do they need to do to make things right for the people that have been impacted, and how they can move forward in a way that not only after they've made things right for that particular person, but maybe they need to make things right for the whole community. So that's really how discipline works at St. John Vianney School. It's a holistic approach. One of the advantages of a private education is that each school really dedicates itself to a singular mission. The mission of St. John Vianney School is, as a ministry of St. John Vianney Parish, guided by the life of Jesus Christ, we seek to preach the gospel with our lives through prayer, study, and service. Likewise, each private school is able to dedicate itself to certain student learning expectations that really encapsulate a vision of its students upon graduation. St. John Vianney School has 4 such things. They are pray, study, love, and serve. There's nothing students are asked to do that doesn't help them meet one of those 4 student learning expectations. Well, now we find ourselves in our Educational Achievement Specialist's classroom. Mrs. Davis works with students that need a little extra help. She helps students learn to read a little bit better. She helps students learn to write a little bit better, or to take a little bit more time with their math. We're so happy to have our Educational Achievement Specialist support students, parents, and teachers. Students' favorite places on campus is our Student Council snack bar. Student Council members man our snack bar every day at morning recess and then after lunch, and they have snacks galore. They sell everything from Snapples to Goldfish. Now that we've seen everything in the main office building, let's go see the rest of the campus. Well, we're in our computer lab right now. We're so happy to have our computer lab. Our computer lab serves as our place where, of course, students come for computer time. And then we also have students come for Spanish class. So we do lots of learning here in our computer lab. So you can see the students' headsets here, and these help to facilitate students' practice of their foreign language skills through Rosetta Stone. And we're so happy that the students are able to continue engaging with the Rosetta Stone lessons as they are practicing distance learning through this time of the school year and through the end of the school year. So most of the St. John Vianney School students are practicing Spanish, but some of our students are already fluent in Spanish. By fluent, we mean that they can already speak, write, and read very well in Spanish. Students that already have that level of fluency are able to choose another foreign language to practice. This part of the computer lab is really fun, and it's the students' favorite part. We have these really fun robotics kits. You can see a lot of the parts are being charged here, and they're able to practice computational thinking. They're able to write code using our iPads, and then they build their little robots, and they get them to do all kinds of fun things. So they just love this part of our lab. So welcome to our library. We're so lucky that we get to have students come to an actual library. We know that so many schools are doing away with their libraries and changing them into book rooms. And we don't want that for our kids. We know how important it is for them to be able to pull a real book off the shelf and actually smell and turn the pages and really engage with real text. Our library also serves as a math classroom for 3 of our middle school math groups. We know how important it is to provide math instruction in smaller groups, especially at that middle school grade level. So we have an accelerated math group, and then we also have grade level math groups for our middle school students. So for middle school students, I know that it's important for you to have this information. Middle school, you have your own restrooms. We have middle school bathrooms right here in this building for you. This is one of the favorite rooms on campus. Welcome to the Learning Lab. This is one of the favorite places on campus because this is where the messes happen. This is where art classes happen, and then this is where middle school science classes happen. So take a quick look around. You can see that we have some artwork still here. You can see all kinds of art supplies are just ready to be used. Mr. Gatlin is our art teacher. He's also our librarian. You were just in his classroom a moment ago. Mr. Gatlin loves to engage kids in learning about art history and then taking a try at what was going on during that period of time in art history. So if you come over here, we can probably still glimpse a little bit of what was left over from this year's art show. Mrs. Brust is our 6th grade homeroom teacher. We'll be able to visit her homeroom classroom in just a little bit, and she is our middle school science expert. Now it's time for our students' favorite part of the day, recess! Most days, the students eat outdoors. You can see this is our largest picnic area, and when it's warm, we bring out large umbrellas and we create a patio atmosphere. Our kindergarten and transitional kindergarten friends have their own lunch and play areas. We're so happy that they have their own corner of campus. St. John Vianney School is proud to be celebrating 60 years of serving the Rancho Cordova and Greater Sacramento region. We are proud to be carrying forward the values and traditions of our first principal and nuns from the Dominican sisters from San Rafael. We're going to start our classroom grade level tours here in TK. Mrs. Felice is our transitional kindergarten teacher, and she is lucky enough to have a full-time instructional assistant, Mrs. McKechnie. Welcome to Transitional Kindergarten. Lots of learning happens in Transitional Kindergarten, but not very much of it is happening at the tables. Most of what is happening during learning time, it's disguised as play. So much of what they're doing is happening in small groups, or it's happening in large group here in their circle time area. The students learn very quickly their school routines, and it's not very long into the school year before they're able to actually lead part of their circle time routine. They take over the calendar part of the learning, they take over the prayers very quickly. One of the favorite things that happens in TK is they get to take Jesus home with them, and they keep a journal and they talk about their adventures with Jesus, so that it's not just this big idea about who Jesus is, but it becomes very real for them. We've already had a chance to learn about our virtue of the week. And right now, because we're distance learning, we don't have a virtue of the week posted here, but this is something that we do in our classrooms. Every single week, the whole school embraces a virtue of the week. And even our littlest learners can learn about what words like magnanimity mean. And they can go home and they can teach their parents about these words, and they can identify those virtues in their fellow students. So we're so happy that we have the Education and Virtue program here at St. John Vianney School. Welcome to kindergarten. Mrs. Hooper is our kindergarten teacher, and she's lucky enough to have a full-time instructional assistant, Mrs. Eustace. So kindergarten's a little bit different than transitional kindergarten, and the students do spend a little bit more time in their individual seats at their tables, but a great deal of their time is still spent disguised as playing. A lot of the learning takes place here at their sit spots on the carpet, and then they rotate through in small groups. And by the way, even as we're distance learning, Mrs. Hooper is still teaching in that same way. Yes, she is still connecting with the whole class in her Zoom sessions, but she is Zooming and meeting with small groups at their individual levels and providing ELA instruction just like she did in the classroom over distance learning mode as well. So we're so happy she's able to provide that level of instruction. Come on over here and let's look to see some of the differences between kindergarten and TK. So when it comes right down to it, the kids are able to utilize their fine motor skills a little bit better. And we can tell we haven't been in school for a little bit of time. These were some of the kids' ideas about what they looked like on their first day of Lent after Ash Wednesday. We're now celebrating the liturgical season of Easter. So we're hoping to be back in school before the end of the school year. Now Mrs. Hooper is assigning things after we get back from the Easter vacation that are asking the kids to think about things that are going to imagine things about the current liturgical season of Easter. Well, welcome to first grade. Mrs. Vianney is our first grade teacher, and we're so happy that she has been at St. John Vianney School for as long as she has been. We kind of think about her as our school-wide grandma for everybody. Her and her husband joined our parish in 1980, so we just love the Vianney family. We are standing here next to Mrs. Vianney's Super Kid Library, and Super Kids is our reading curriculum that we use in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. It is widely researched, it is highly effective, and it really helps to ensure that we have students that are ready to learn in third grade and that they can read independently. So we're super excited about having Super Kids as our reading curriculum. Well, as you can see in first grade, there's a lot of room to move. The desks are stacked over here neatly on the side of the classroom, and that's just because we've already been doing the deep cleaning of the carpets in preparation for the students to come back to school. Welcome to Mrs. Valentek's classroom. This is second grade. So all St. John Vianney teachers work incredibly hard to make sure that they're meeting the needs of all different types of learners. Mrs. Valentek does this incredibly well. One of the ways that she does that is by using anchor charts. So we can see that she's done something here for English Language Arts, or ELA, and she has another anchor chart to help meet the students' math needs. And what's really important to note that during distance learning, just as teachers were doing this in their classrooms, they're working incredibly hard to make sure that they're meeting the needs of their students online as well. One of the things that makes second grade so special for Catholic school students is this is the year that they experience First Eucharist. I want everyone to know that we are not canceling First Eucharist for our students. It's just postponed. We'll make sure that they get to participate in this most important sacrament as soon as it's safe to do so. Well, welcome to third grade. Mr. Beecham is our third grade teacher. You know, third grade is a really fun year. It's when students take on a lot more independence in their work. And so we have some examples of that. These were the students' hero projects. And this is a really fun thing because we can just give them an idea, give them some really clear parameters, and then turn them loose and see what they're able to come up with. And they always come up with the best work. And it really is just so sweet because it comes right from their hearts. Third grade's an awesome year academically. It's the year that students learn a lot more about math, about how numbers work, how things are interrelated. It's a year that they learn that their words and their ideas have a lot of power, and that they can really organize their thoughts and get their ideas on paper in a way that can be powerful for other people too. So we love third graders, and we love our teacher, Mr. Beecham. Hi, welcome to fourth grade. This is Miss Piranzino's classroom. So one of the things that we love about fourth graders is that they have a really good understanding of who they are in the world and the way that the world works. Up until this point, they understand everything that they've been told. But it's really fun to challenge fourth graders to think beyond what they've known to this point. That they really can be challenged to think about things at a much deeper level. That they can be encouraged to think beyond themselves and understand the way that the world works in a bigger way than they've ever been able to understand up until this point. Fourth grade is an amazing place to learn and discover new things. Building off the independent thinking and learning in fourth grade, fifth graders learn about figures in history who went against the grain to do the right thing. Using people like Martin Luther King as an example, they know that they can make changes in their own communities. These are the Kano computers. So these little computers came as a kit, and our students built them, and they are the computers that our fifth graders use to communicate with their PC Pals. PC Pals is a program that is run through the Intel volunteer network, and it is a really sweet little program where Intel employees act as volunteers, and they serve as mentors for our students. They communicate back and forth through email, and it has been one of the sweetest things where those PC Pals have reached out to our students during this time of distance learning, and they've checked in on the kids, and they've made sure that they're feeling good about what's been happening, and they've encouraged them to continue to work hard and do their best, even through distance learning. Hi, welcome to sixth grade. This is Mrs. Brust's homeroom class, and we're in middle school now. We've left elementary years behind us, and in our middle school, we really use classroom experts. So Mrs. Brust is our science expert. She sees her sixth graders for religion and for ELA, and then she has each one of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes for science. And we love that she can act as that science expert. So We know that it's important to grow our middle schoolers' minds, to get them ready for high school, and to make sure that we're challenging them. One of the hallmarks of an SJV education in middle school has been to be able to travel with your class, to be able to take some field trips. And Mrs. Brust has certainly been at the forefront in arranging those science field trips. She has been taking students on field trips and enjoying that and pushing them forward in their scientific thinking. She's taking kids to the Marin Headlands, and then recently she's been taking them to Great Basin. So we look forward to seeing what she has in mind for future field trips. Well, welcome to 7th grade. This is Mr. Royal's homeroom classroom, and Mr. Royal serves as our social studies expert for the St. John Vianney School Middle School. As we're pushing toward high school, it's way more important now that the students are in 7th grade that they're really acting independently of their parents, that they are taking on the impetus for their own homework, that they are learning to study on their own, that they are really setting up those expectations for what it means to be successful as they're approaching 8th grade, so that when they get to 8th grade, they already understand what that means. And we are so happy to support our students and the parents as they're moving toward that. Even as we are employing distance learning at this point, teachers are utilizing the technology that we were already utilizing here in the classroom with the students in order to help our students have success as they're approaching those high school years. Well, welcome to 8th grade. This is Mrs. Chargalov's homeroom classroom. So 8th grade is another one of those important sacrament years. 8th grade is the year that our St. John Vianney School students celebrate the sacrament of confirmation. And you'll see this is the confirmation gown. And our students are going to get to celebrate the sacrament of confirmation. It's not canceled, it's just postponed. And the same is true of graduation. Although we found out last week that we will be staying in our distance learning mode through the end of this academic year, that doesn't mean that we're not going to celebrate graduation. We will, in fact, get together as a school community and celebrate our graduates just as soon as we're able to. Speaking of graduation, it's important to note that our students and teachers are continuing to work hard to ensure that our graduates are ready for next year. At every grade level, whether it's our TKers or our 3rd graders or our 8th graders, our teachers, our students, and their families are working very hard to ensure that our students learn all of the necessary and key skills to ensure that they are ready to tackle everything that the next academic year has to offer. St. John Vianney students have the opportunity to come and participate in PE classes twice a week. Mr. Connor is our PE teacher, and we're so grateful that he is. In addition to having PE, our 5th through 8th grade students have the opportunity to participate in parochial athletic league sports throughout the year. And our 1st through 4th grade students have the opportunity to participate in Little Dribblers. So we use a car line system here at St. John Vianney School, and in the morning and in the afternoon, parents can always utilize our car line. In the morning, we have adults ready to help students out of the car, and then in the afternoon, we just ask that parents always come and wait for us to get the classrooms out. We always line up over in one particular area, and then you can drive through, and then teachers will help the kids find you. Moms and dads are always welcome to walk onto campus and bring kids to the classroom doors in the morning, and then walk onto campus and join the classrooms as they're lined up in the afternoons. We always like to see you, moms and dads. Parents who need before or after school care should know that our extension program is available for you. So, we have Miss Murray, who runs our extension program. She is our extension director. And then we actually have one of our SJV parents, and a couple of our alumni who are also Extension employees. We have lots of fun environments for the kids here in Extension. We have different activities that are set up in the afternoons. We do provide an after-school snack. And then depending on the age of the student, they're either given an opportunity to go get their homework started with some support available for them, or they have a playtime in every afternoon. So please know that we do have extension services available for families that need them before and after school. So two other questions that I'm frequently asked when I do school tours is, Mrs. Hale, do we need to be Catholic to attend St. John Vianney School? And the answer is no. We just ask that you are respectful of our faith and of our traditions. And the other question that we're frequently asked is, what are your class sizes? And I'm happy to say that we have smaller class sizes than what you're typically going to find at your local public schools. St. John Vianney School uses the Education and Virtue program. In public schools, they call this character education. We don't hide the fact that the very virtues that we're asking our students to emulate were actually modeled by Jesus, by his apostles, and by many of the saints. Thank you for joining me on this school tour today. I'm sure that you have many more questions that I didn't have a chance to address. Please watch for a video to come soon about other frequently asked questions. But in the meantime, please feel free to email me. You can always get a hold of me at ahale@sjvschool.org. Have a great day. Have a great day, and go Tigers!